Welcome to WrestlingTruth.com. They're your source for an online interactive wrestling community, providing the truth behind the dirt sheets and rumors. It's WrestlingTruth.com, revealing the truth behind the headlines.
Hello wrestling fans and welcome to the Supla on WrestlingTruth.com and in association with Heartstopper Sports at sports.experience.fm. As always, I'm Keelan Balderson, and as you can see me, look, because we've gone to video, we've gone old school, and I'll introduce the hosts, Liam Dunn, somewhere over there, and Andy Kwan, somewhere over there.
Are we like Raw? Are we that old school?
I don't see any Hacksaw Jim Duggins around, so...
Oh, that'll do. Okay, that will do.
That'll do, Corny.
No more Hacksaw Jim Duggins.
Sorry. Anyway,
I'm not the f***ing donkey!
Yeah, you are. You look like one. Anyway, let's say hello to you, the audience. Hello, audience member who is watching. Hello.
We're kind of on
pointing.
Video. But we're not on the same video.
So we don't know what we're doing! So I could be doing this!
So...
And you don't know what that is yet.
Pointing...
Your point what?
There's no point of me... I'm pointing at the screen, so there's no point of my pointing.
Don't point at me, you beep.
Who's he pointing at, damn it?
Let's get on with the show. This is this week's Supla, and the main event. WWE gives thanks and wishes and futures endeavours. Oh, I messed that thing up.
You fucked up!
Take two.
Basically, a shitload of people got fired. But I just want to take this opportunity very quickly to discuss my thoughts on the Eddie Guerrero death, the 5-year anniversary of Eddie Guerrero, because I wasn't here for the last episode. I don't know how many people were aware of this. And I just thought...
Everyone that listened, I should think.
Just thought... So about 5 people, really. Anyway.
More than 5! Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
7.
We'll get better stats now we're on the YouTube. So we'll either be really happy or really depressed after this episode.
Of course. But...
Leave the memories alone.
Will you guys... Fucking... Anyway. So I just want to talk about, what has happened with wrestling in the past 5 years since the tragedy of Eddie Guerrero's death. Has anything really been changed? Do you think that wrestling has changed for the better? Have they done anything? I want to get some of your opinions on that.
Well, it's definitely changed for the better. They've got the wellness policy, which seems to be ever more stringent every year, adding more things to the list. I don't think they can get away with anything anymore, to be honest. They even do heart testing.
But a lot of wrestlers outside of WWE, a lot of wrestlers still, there was tests,
outside of
this
WWE,
past 5
that's
years
a different matter.
Yeah, but surely this, Eddie Guerrero's death would have resonated with a lot of people. Even in TNA, they, one of their pay-per-views, they said this pay-per-view is dedicated to Eddie Guerrero, and Eddie Guerrero touched a lot of lives, and you would have thought that such a tragic death would have, and such a mainstream death, he was such a well-known wrestler as well because of the WWE, you would have thought that his death and the causes of his death would have brought more awareness, and yet I don't think it has. I think a lot, like Umaga, Tess, all these people, they didn't really seem to
It's that thing though, isn't it? People
mistakes.
say to themselves, oh, it will never happen to me, I'm in a good, healthy condition, if I take some of these things, it'll be fine. And then it obviously isn't.
I think the wrestlers should be trained about the harmfulness of that. I don't think...
Yeah, but who can train them if they're not in WWE? There's no overriding wrestling council. It's really up to them.
There should be a law or something to bring awareness to it, a general sports thing, because I think, after 2 years, 2 years after the Eddie Guerrero death, we had the Benoit tragedies. Now, that's technically not related because Benoit went a bit fucking nutty, but
Yeah.
you know, they need at the same time. It's all brought down to the same sort of thing. These guys are overworked, and they take all these bumps, and they don't seem to have that proper care. No one really tells them, you know, take more care for yourself. They just think, let's roid ourselves up.
It would
on
have been a
steroids,
lot easier
get whacked over the head with steel chairs every
on
night.
the indie scene. It would be a lot easier to regulate this kind of thing if Vince didn't come out in the 90s, was it, and say it was fake, in order for the state athletic commissions not to regulate it anymore, so they could just sort of do what they wanted because it was classed as entertainment. But that's taken away a certain regulation, and now that stands for the indie scene as a whole. And WWE can do what they want to do, but that doesn't count for anyone else who's not in WWE. TNA has started, doing a few things, but you never can tell because they're not a public company.
That's where, like,
they're the biggest offenders, in my
UFC
opinion.
Good.
TNA are the biggest offenders. They saw that Test had a problem, and what do? They just fired him. They didn't try and help him. They fired him. Guess what? He died a few months later.
But it's not necessarily their fault that he didn't.
TNA.
You know,
it's not. But they didn't. They should have done something about it. They just let.
Maybe they did. We don't know. Maybe they had a word with him.
Let's just let him out. Well,
I don't think they did anything. I think they just went with it.
From
look at Pete Williams. He was clearly on roids.
From the way it was perceived, it was just they just let him go because they saw he had a problem with steroids, and then a few months later he was dead. I mean, TNA should have done something. They seemed like they didn't do anything. They said the only reason why we're letting you go is because you do steroids. It's not like, look, we need to talk about this. It was just like, right, fine, fuck you, you're doing steroids, we're not having anything to do with you. They got scared of handling someone like Test who's on this problem. Instead of trying to sort it out, they just said, right, if we fire him, if he dies, it's not our fault, and that's what they did.
But do you blame them, though? Do you blame them for doing that? I mean, look at the other side of Eddie Guerrero dying. After this happened, do you blame them for having a guy in the company that had steroids and letting him go? They don't want another Eddie Guerrero on their hands. The professional wrestling industry doesn't want another Eddie Guerrero on their hands, especially a great company like TNA that don't even have a proper wellness policy. There would have been so much shit if they got caught with a guy that has steroids, and he died whilst being employed by them. So obviously that's not a good thing. That's something that they don't want. That's why they got rid of the guy.
That's the point.
And this is where WWE's done something right.
At the end of the day, he's a human being, alright? And they should have looked out for him, and they didn't. They treated him like shit. At the end of the day, he is a living human. Okay, they should have took better care of him, in my opinion, and they didn't.
Could I bring an interesting point?
Learn from the Eddie Guerrero thing.
No one on TNA's roster has ever died, other than a guy working for the production crew that fell off a scaffold. Even though they're the ones without a policy.
No, didn't...
Bit strange.
Oh, no, hang on, never mind, that's... Just, I just don't think TNA handled it very well. I know some people are going to disagree with me, but I think they could have done more to help Andrew Martin out. To me, they just seem
WWE should have done something. WWE have a wellness policy. That was the idea behind the wellness policy. They've helped people out before.
I think that the problem is, what can you do if the person doesn't want to have any help? I mean, he would have been sent a letter by WWE offering him free rehab, and he obviously said no. So what more can they do?
Well, yeah, that's obviously
I still think TNA should have done something about it. To me, I just think they were very inhuman with what they did. They just let him go.
Maybe in their eyes, firing him, they probably said, "We're firing you because you're on steroids. If you clean yourself up, you'll have a job here at TNA." That was probably a motivational way of trying to do it, and it went the opposite way.
Yeah, it's exactly like Kurt Angle. They said, "Look, just get off the pain pills. Take some time out, then we'll hire you back." What does he do? He goes to TNA, and he's now in more pain than he's ever been in his entire life, and he said that. doesn't make any fucking
TNA
sense.
should sort out with Kurt Angle then, shouldn't they?
But they're not going to, because Kurt clearly doesn't want any help. It's like Keelan's point. What do you do if somebody says, I don't want any help? What do? You can't force someone to go into rehab. It's a matter of choice. Unless a court says, you have to go into rehab.
I think
I feel that TNA didn't do anything. There was no report that TNA tried to help him.
What do they do? They don't have a wellness policy.
Their wellness policy is absolutely shockingly bad.
It doesn't exist. That's my point. They couldn't do anything.
They should
It's run by idiots.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not saying TNA is responsible for his death, but I'm just saying I don't think they did enough. They just, to me, from the way they handled it, it was just like, right, we're not being responsible if he dies. That's it. Sorry. It's not about being responsible. It's about another human being who has a family, people he has to support.
Well, I think we can admit that there is a problem with the current generation. Well, then the way to fix that is to teach the next generation about these sorts of things, so then when they become stars, they don't have the same problems. So if they put that in place now,
that's what I said. They need to be teaching them, but they don't seem to be doing that.
Well, we've seen TNA. They've gone a bit of a step further. They've talked with Chris Nowinski from the Sports Legacy Institute. They're talking about, the whole concussion thing. Mr. Anderson hasn't come back.
Yeah, but WWE barely listens to him.
Yeah, but they don't want to acknowledge that, do they? Because, he's a former employee, they don't want bad press.
And the Linda McMahon campaign as well, they didn't want to. Linda McMahon was like, concussions? What the fuck are concussions?
You see, that's another thing. They've just been overlooking, safety to try and get Linda McMahon in the fucking Senate, and guess what? She didn't get in.
She's trying again.
Fail.
Is that one of our headlines further down?
Isn't she going to try again in 2012 or something?
Something like that. So, PG forever.
Yeah, but she won't get in.
PG forever. Anyway, weren't we supposed to be talking about Eddie Guerrero? We went on to Test.
Sorry, yeah. I wanted to... Yeah, I don't know, I just...
Kill TNA!
Anyway,
everything's TNA's fault. The world is over because of TNA.
The world will end in 2012 because of TNA! No, it won't.
It's all... 9/11 was because of TNA.
Okay, be quiet. Why do you have to say stupid things? Why do you have to say stupid ass things?
Was being created, and he sent towers down, and he was like, no, don't do TNA. It was like, I'm going to give a metaphor of TNA, and he just showed 2 towers burning and then crashing.
There was three buildings.
Anywho, so WWE...
Oh yeah, it was 3 buildings, apologies, 3 buildings.
WWE have released several performers and employees, including Shad Gaspard, Luke Gallows, Lance Archer, Kalen Croft, Tiffany, Jillian Hall, the WWE creative member Chris D. Joseph, or Big Dick Johnson, or as Keelan spelt here, Dick Johnson,
Nobody cares.
and referee Aaron Goose Mahoney. So,
who was referee Aaron Goose Mahoney, though? Maybe he was a developmental ref. Never heard of him in my life.
Can I just say, there seems to be a slight misquote here, Andy. Jillian Hall hasn't actually been released. She's no longer an on-air talent. No, she's no longer an on-air talent. She's a trainer. Hey,
I get everything off Wrestling Truth. It's not
that was a new headline I put up to clarify.
If you had seen the latest headline...
Look, I'm brushing my hair right now because I'm dashing. Now be quiet.
Dashing Andy Kwan.
That's my new nickname, Dashing Andy Kwan.
No, Dashing Kwan.
Shut up!
Let's clarify. Jillian Hall is now a trainer for the Divas.
Wait. I've got to get that sound clip and just put it to the song. That's not my name. Just had to go. That's not my name. That's not my name. Just oh, that'd be brilliant. Sorry.
My name is Kozlov. Let's never do that again.
Please do it again. Please.
I'm not doing it again. My girlfriend was like, what is this? And she started playing it, and I'm like, oh,
Andy,
fuck.
You don't have a girlfriend.
Oh, dear.
Anywho, shut up! Right. So, what's really weird about these releases is that, like, several tag team partners are still in the company. So, like, with Shad Gaspard, JTG still in the company.
Yeah, they just killed their tag division.
Trent Beretta's still in the company.